Talk back into the due day, and today we have a trade in the NBA as the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers have agreed to a deal where Dorian Finney-Smith is headed to the Los Angeles Lakers. D'Angelo Russell is headed back to the Brooklyn Nets. D'Lo just continues to go back to his former teams. I mean, a couple years ago it was with Minnesota trading him to L.A., where he goes and returns to L.A., and now it's the Lakers trading him to Brooklyn, where he returns to Brooklyn. Yeah. What's next? Is D'Lo going to get traded to Minnesota or Golden State? I doubt he goes to Golden State, but I also doubt he goes to Minnesota. So I guess maybe this is the end of D'Lo reuniting with former teams. We'll see if he stays in Brooklyn for a long, a short, not whether it's a short period of time or it's a long time. He stays in Brooklyn. That should be interesting if he's going to be a part of their future. They just traded Dennis Schroeder to Golden State, so they could use a guard, but we'll see what Brooklyn does. Dorian Finney-Smith is headed to the Lakers. I find this trade just a tiny bit funny because at least I got an alert about an hour or two ago. I think it was 8 or 9 in the morning. It's 11:30 now. That the Lakers are going to be patient. The Lakers want to be patient leading into the February 6th trade deadline, and they don't want to, move fast. An hour or two later, Lakers are trading for Dorian Finney-Smith. So, great way to be patient. If I had to guess, I would think a big reason why maybe this deal sped up a little bit was because we've been hearing that the Grizzlies were, big on acquiring Dorian Finney-Smith. We heard that a deal was in place. It was like Luke Kennard, John Conchar, and a first-round pick would be headed to Brooklyn for Dorian Finney-Smith, and I think the Grizzlies are a competitor in the Western Conference, of course. The Grizzlies are a top 3 seed. The Lakers are obviously in the mix in the West as well, and I think they're in the top 8, top 7 in the West. So the Grizzlies are definitely a team they can meet down the road, and Dorian Finney-Smith could be a big part of the Grizzlies team and, a big help in the Western Conference. So if I had to guess, I would think the Grizzlies are a big reason why the Lakers decided not to be patient, because I think the Grizzlies were going to land Dorian Finney-Smith if the Lakers didn't step in. Let's get into Dorian Finney-Smith and D'Angelo Russell, the two big players that were acquired in this trade. Now, there were 2 other players, Maxwell Lewis and D'Angelo Russell, and 3 second-round picks are going to Brooklyn. Well, Shake Milton and Dorian Finney-Smith are headed to L.A. I actually really like this trade for the Lakers. I think Dorian Finney-Smith is obviously better than D'Angelo Russell, and I also like Shake Milton. I don't know how much he'll play with the Lakers, but I think he's definitely better than Maxwell Lewis. I think Maxwell Lewis is a solid player. Maxwell has played only 7 games this year for the Lakers, 4 minutes per game, averaging 1 point per game. He's playing really good in the G League, though, and he's still really young. Was the 40th overall pick of the 2023 NBA draft. He's 6'7", still 22 years old, so definitely still has some potential. But Shake Milton, on the other hand, this year with Brooklyn, 27 games, 1 start, 18 minutes per game. He's averaging 7 points per game, 2 assists per game, 1 steal per game. From 3, he's shooting 39%. In his career, he's shooting 36%. Last year with the Knicks, he shot 50% from 3. So I actually like this addition for the Lakers. He should be a good addition. The Lakers need better shooting. He's definitely a solid shooter to bring in. He had some really good seasons in Philadelphia. Like Philadelphia, the 2020-21 season, he averaged 13 points per game, was a 6th Man of the Year candidate, averaged 3 assists per game as well. That year shot 35% from 3. He had some really good 3-point shooting seasons with Philadelphia, shot 38% in the 2022-23 season, 43% in the 2019-20 season. So I like the Shake Milton addition, and that's not even the biggest addition for this Lakers team. It's Dorian Finney-Smith, who is a great wing. He's a great shooter and a good defender and a good rebounder. Averaged 10 points per game. He's averaged 10 points per game this season. He's averaged 5 rebounds per game. He's a great defender, averaging 1 steal per game and almost a block per game. He's averaged 2 assists per game. Another big thing is he's a good 3-point shooter, and I think that's something the Lakers could use. Shooting 44% from 3 this year, 36% from 3 in his career. That's in 20 games, 20 starts, 29 minutes per game for Dorian Finney-Smith. So, I think Dorian Finney-Smith is a great addition for this Lakers team. Now, I think the interesting thing could be is, does Dorian Finney-Smith potentially start over Rui Hachimura Because I think both of those players are very similar players in height, the way they play, what you need them to do. So I don't know. Austin Reeves is definitely going to still be the starting point guard, and I definitely could see a lineup where maybe it's Austin Reeves, LeBron James, and you have Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui, and AD. That just seems like a little bit of a big lineup. You have LeBron playing the two, or LeBron's the point guard and Reeves is the two. I don't know. We'll see if one of Rui or Dorian Finney-Smith heads to the bench for this Lakers team. That will be interesting to see what happens there. But D'Angelo Russell is going to Brooklyn. I expect him to be a starter there. D'Lo's going back to the one place he was an all-star. D'Lo was an all-star in the 2018-19 season with the Brooklyn Nets, playing 81 games. He averaged 21 points per game. He's played his best basketball in Brooklyn, 7 assists per game in Brooklyn. He also had 32 minutes per game, shot 37% for three. He played some really good basketball in Brooklyn, his best basketball of his career. So it should be interesting to see him going back there. I think that will be interesting, but I don't think this Nets team is as good as they were in the 2018-19 season when D'Angelo Russell was an all-star. I think they've gotten a lot worse. So, I mean, they were a playoff team that year. They were in the playoffs. They played Philly in the first round in the playoffs that season. So I think this team has gotten worse. But it still should be interesting to see D'Lo back in Brooklyn. I think he's gotten worse. I think their team has gotten worse since then. But let me know your thoughts on the addition for the Brooklyn Nets in the comment section. That's it, or for the Lakers as well. Let me know your thoughts on the trade in the comment section, and peace out.